Greetings and welcome to Little Readers Podcast, dedicated to literacy, listening skills, comprehension, and a love of reading. Today, our story comes from Italian folklore. Whenever you hear that term, folklore, it means that the original story was passed on by word of mouth. For instance, grandmothers would tell it over and over to their grandchildren, and then they would retell it over and over to their children, and it continued on for generations that way. They even turned the stories into lullabies. Well, the title for today is Strega Nona, written and illustrated by Tomie de Paola in 1975, published by Simon & Schuster Children's Publishing Division. And of course, you can get this book at your local library. Let's begin. In a town called Calabria in Italy a long time ago, there lived an old lady everyone called Strega Nona, which meant Grandma Witch. Although all the people in town talked about her in whispers, they all went to see her if they had troubles. Even the mayor and the teachers of the town went, because Strega Nona did have a magic touch. They thought she could cure headaches with oil and water and a hairpin. She made special potions for the girls who wanted husbands. And she was very good at getting rid of warts. But Strega Nona was getting old, and she needed someone to help her keep her little house and garden. So she put up a sign in the town square for a helper. As a result, Big Anthony, who was known for not paying attention, went to see her for the job. Strega Nona said to him, "Anthony, you must sweep the house and wash the dishes. You must weed the garden and pick the vegetables. For this, I will give you 3 coins and a place to sleep and food to eat." "Oh, grazie," said Big Anthony. Strega Nona added, "The one thing you must never do is touch the pasta pot. It is very valuable, and I do not let anyone touch it." "Oh, si, yes," said Big Anthony. And so the days went by. Big Anthony did his work, and Strega Nona met with the people who came to see her for headaches and husbands and warts. Big Anthony had a nice bed to sleep in, next to the goat shed, and he had food to eat. One evening, when Anthony was milking the goat, he heard Strega Nona singing. Peeking in the window, he saw Strega Nona standing over the pasta pot. She sang, "Bubble, bubble, pasta pot, boil me some pasta nice and hot. I'm hungry and it's time to sup. Boil enough pasta to fill me up." And magically the pot bubbled and boiled and was suddenly filled with steaming hot pasta. Then Strega Nona sang again. "Enough, enough, pasta pot, I have my pasta nice and hot. So simmer down my pot of clay until I'm hungry another day." And it stopped. "How wonderful," said Big Anthony. "That's a magic pot for sure." And Strega Nona called Big Anthony in for supper. But too bad for Big Anthony, because he didn't get to see Strega Nona blow 3 kisses to the magic pot, because, of course, he was not paying attention, and this is what happened as a result. The next day, Anthony went to the town square to fetch water. He told everyone about the pasta pot. Well, naturally, everyone laughed at him because it sounded so silly. A pot that cooked all by itself. "You'd better go and confess, Big Anthony. That is such a lie." And Big Anthony became angry, and that wasn't a very good thing to be. He said to himself, "I'll show them. Someday I will get the pasta pot and make it cook, and then they will be sorry." Well, that day came sooner than even Big Anthony would have thought. Because 2 days later, Strega Nona said to Big Anthony, "Anthony, I must go over the mountain to the next town to see my friend, Strega Amelia. While I'm gone, sweep the house and weed the garden. Feed the goat and milk her, and for your lunch, there are some bread and cheese in the cupboard. But remember, do not touch the pasta pot." Big Anthony replied, "Oh, yes, yes, Strega Nona." But inside, he was thinking, "My chance has come." And as soon as Strega Nona was out of sight, Big Anthony went inside, pulled the pasta pot off the shelf, and put it on the floor. "Now, let me see if I can remember those words," said Big Anthony. And Big Anthony sang, "Bubble, bubble, pasta pot, boil me some pasta nice and hot. I'm hungry and it's time to sup. Boil enough to fill me up." And sure enough, the pot bubbled and boiled and began to fill up with pasta. Aha! Big Anthony was so excited. He ran to the town square, jumped on the fountain, and shouted, "Everyone, get forks and plates and platters and bowls. Pasta for all at Strega Nona's house. Big Anthony has made the magic pasta pot work." Well, of course everyone laughed. But they did run home to get forks and plates and platters and bowls. And sure enough, when they got to Strega Nona's, the pasta pot was so full, it was beginning to overflow. Big Anthony was their hero. He scooped out pasta and filled the plates and platters and bowls. There was more than enough for the townspeople, and some people came back for 2 and 3 helpings. But the pot was never empty. When everyone had had their fill, Big Anthony sang once again, "Enough, enough, my pasta pot. I have my pasta nice and hot. So simmer down my pot of clay until I'm hungry another day." But alas, he did not blow the 3 kisses. He went outside, and the applause of the crowd overwhelmed Big Anthony. He took a bow. He was so busy listening to compliments from everyone that he didn't notice the pasta pot was still bubbling and boiling until a woman said, "Oh, Big Anthony, you better look." And the pasta was pouring out of the pot all over the floor of Strega Nona's house, and it was coming out the door. Big Anthony rushed in and shouted the magic words again, but the pot kept on boiling. He took the pot off the floor, but the pasta kept pouring from it. Big Anthony was frantic. He had to do something to make that pasta pot stop. Big Anthony grabbed a cover and put it on the pot, and he sat on it. But the pot still bubbled. The pasta raised the cover and Big Anthony as well, and spilled on the floor of Strega Nona's house. "Stop! Stop!" Big Anthony cried. But the pasta did not stop, and if someone hadn't grabbed poor Big Anthony, the pasta would have covered him up. The pasta had all but filled the little house. Out of the windows and through the doors came the pasta, and the pot kept right on bubbling. The townspeople began to worry. "Do something, Big Anthony!" they shouted. Big Anthony sang the magic song again, but without those 3 kisses, it did no good. By this time, the pasta was on its way down the road, and all the people were running to keep ahead of it. The mayor shouted, "We must protect our town from the pasta. Get mattresses, tables, doors, anything to make a barricade." But even that didn't work. The pot kept bubbling, and the pasta kept coming. "We are lost! The pasta will cover our town," the townspeople cried. And it certainly would have, had Strega Nona not come down the road from her visit with Strega Amelia. She didn't have to look twice to know exactly what happened. She sang the magic song and blew the 3 kisses, and with a sputter, the pot stopped boiling, and the pasta came to a halt. "Oh, grazie, thank you, Strega Nona," the people cried. But then they turned on Big Anthony. "Take him away! Put him to jail! Put him in jail! Now!" the men of the town shouted. Strega Nona exclaimed, "Now wait. The punishment must fit the crime." And she took a fork from a lady standing nearby and held it out to Big Anthony. She said to him, "All right, Anthony, you wanted pasta from my magic pasta pot, and I want to sleep in my little bed tonight. So, start eating." And he did. Poor Big Anthony. He ate all of that pasta and cleared the way for Strega Nona to go to bed. It took him a long while, but he did it. His tummy was bulging. I think Big Anthony learned his lesson. What do you think? Listen carefully, follow directions, and pay attention to details. The end. Now, children, what can we learn from this story? If you are thinking, always listen carefully to directions, you are absolutely correct. Now let's see how well you recall the details from the story. Do you remember the setting of the story? That's where the story takes place. Yes, if you were thinking Italy, that is where the story takes place. And you have extra good listening skills if you remember the small town it took place in, Calabria. Now, can you recall the chores Big Anthony had to complete for Strega Nona? Let's say them together. First, he had to wash the dishes and sweep the floor. then weed the garden and pick the vegetables, feed the goat and milk her, and finally he had to fetch water from the town square. Now, what about this one? Do you remember what Strega Nona gave to Anthony for his work? 3 things. Can you remember? 3 coins, a bed to sleep in, and food to eat. You are really smart if you remembered those. Now, the most important detail. What did Anthony forget from Strega Nona's Magic Pot song? Yes, he forgot to blow 3 kisses to the pot after singing the magic words. Without those kisses, the pot would not stop. Anthony also forgot Strega Nona's warning when she gave Anthony his instructions. Do you remember what it was? Anthony forgot that she told him no one touched the pasta pot. He should have listened. Don't you agree? Now, here's an activity you might enjoy. You could draw a picture of what you think Strega Nona and Big Anthony look like, and another picture of the magic pasta pot overflowing with pasta. And you could hold these pictures up as you retell the story. That would be fun to hear you retell the story, just as grandmothers did in the past. Well, I hope you enjoyed this Italian folk tale of Strega Nona and the Italian music. Remember, you can get this Strega Nona by Tomie de Paola, published in 1975 by Simon & Schuster at the local library. Thanks for joining me today. This is Miss Jones signing off. Have a great day with many friends.